Hi, my name is Jocelyn Petway, and I'm the CEO of Covenant Community Care. I want to welcome you all to our annual Courage to Care event. I know it looks different this year, as do most things, but I'm looking forward to sharing what's going on at Covenant, what you can expect to see in the future, and how you can join us in our work. My history of Covenant is lengthy. I've worked here for about 8 years. I started as a grant writer. I came to Covenant because Covenant at the time was one of the few health centers doing dental in the city of Detroit, and this was before Medicaid expanded or anything like that. So there wasn't a lot of dental access for people without insurance or people with Medicaid. And Covenant was this kind of renegade clinic that was doing dental, and I was really interested in their drive to provide care to people regardless of all the reasons why you shouldn't be doing that, more so business reasons why it wouldn't make sense. And so that really drew me to Covenant, drew me to look up Covenant. When I looked up Covenant, I saw the mission statement, and the mission statement really was the connection for me. It just spoke to me. I thought it was so clear, and it just, from the moment I read it, it really connected with me, and I wanted to work and learn from Paul Propson, who was the CEO at the time, and I ended up here as a grant writer, and then just kept taking on other tasks as assigned. I think of my job at Covenant as other duties as assigned. It just kept coming more duties, and worked closely with other leaders. And when Paul stepped down, my name was on the policy as a CEO succession policy as the acting CEO. And so that's how that happened. I stepped into acting CEO and served for about a year in that position, and I officially became the permanent CEO in July of 2020. Onboarding in a pandemic is unlike anything I think any of us would have thought. Normally a new CEO comes in and it's a lot of handshaking and things of that nature, but there really wasn't time for that. My first day as permanent CEO was one of the first days we were resuming in-person care at all of our clinics. So it's been really heavily influenced by the pandemic, as it should be, right? We're a healthcare organization, and we've had to pivot.
So with COVID-19, I think I would say it has shown Covenant to be very resourceful, spunky. There's a lot of organizations who did not make it through this, unfortunately. There are a lot of clinics who closed their doors and hadn't reopened to people. And, with Covenant, I can't even say we, because I was not responsible for it, but just quick decisions, and we readjusted to do what needed to be done so that we could continue to care for our patients. We did not want there to be a lapse in care, a lapse in medication refills, and the needs. We didn't want to drop the needs of our patients just because of this pandemic. So I think that have shown, not just for this site, but all of Covenant, how we can pull together to get things done. And, that being said, with limited staff, at the beginning of the pandemic, probably 50% of our staff here stayed home, So for us to be able to function, continue to see patients, continue to produce under those circumstances says a lot about our staff.
I just can't think of an organization where your return on investment is what it is when you give to Covenant Community Care. It's not just healthcare. Covenant our mission is to show and share the love of God, as seen in the good news of Jesus Christ, by providing integrated, affordable, quality healthcare to those who need it most. I simply can't think of a time when that mission is needed more. It's not just the healthcare side, it's the love of God side. And we've seen in our country challenges to both of those over the last year. We've seen challenges to the healthcare side through the pandemic, and then through everything that's been going on, we've seen why God's love is needed more than ever. And so Covenant is uniquely positioned to address both of those issues in a very real, meaningful, and sustainable way. And so at a time like now, your gift to Covenant Community Care can do such good for our people.
The mission of Covenant Community Care to me means, I think it's the chance to do the work and also to talk about the work. So, in our mission talks about the good news of Jesus Christ, and so it's the chance to talk about that hope that we have, that eternal hope, and at the same time, it's the chance to hands-on meet people's needs in really concrete ways, in the way of healthcare, in the way of every part of healthcare. So whether it's a doctor's visit, or it's helping with transportation, or referrals, or dietary education. So kind of the spectrum of seeing that person, saying, these are all their needs. They're not just a medical problem like diabetes, but they're a whole person with dental needs, behavioral health needs, medical needs. I think our desire is to kind of meet the holistic health of the patient.
COTS came about, so I'd have to go back and say that Covenant has a wonderful school-based dental program that operates like clockwork. Carabon provides such great leadership to that team, and they're in and out of schools all through the school year. And of course, the schools were closed. And so Kara didn't take that lying down. She said, well, we're going to find other places to treat people. Covenant is also a homeless healthcare provider. There was an intentional decision with Kara Bond and Dr. Lynn Eichelt, our chief dental officer, to target more shelters while the schools were down. Nicole Carbonari from COTS reached out to me and said, I've heard about your dental program, can we talk? Asked a question that I think you should always ask community partners before you just run into something: what do you need? And she said they really needed access to dental care. And so connected her to Kara, and if you connect somebody to Kara, she is going to make good on it. And next thing I knew, we were in COTS, and the work of our school-based dental team, I truly can't say enough about it.
The pandemic has really turned us upside down. It's really changed the way that we provide care. So typically, the majority of our sites are Head Starts and schools. But unfortunately, with the pandemic, most of the Head Starts and schools have switched to virtual learning. We have been fortunate enough, blessed enough to be able to go into various community sites right now because there's definitely a need for dental care at the various community sites that we go to. COTS is one of them, a wonderful organization that assists individuals experiencing homelessness. So we, again, have been blessed to be able to provide care during this time for a lot of community sites.
I can't say enough about their resilience. I can't say enough about their creativity and their willingness to pivot the way they have. Dental has experienced COVID in a completely different way. There was a time when all of our dental clinics are pretty much shut down, under order. And so they have just constantly looked for the space to care. They didn't just accept that, well, we can't do anything. Instead, there was a constant search to say, well, who can we help then? If we can't do our norm, what can we do? And so COTS is an extension of the incredible work of that team.
I love coming to work every day. Again, I have the rare opportunity to incorporate my faith every day with my job, and that's such a blessing. I always had been involved in my church, and then I always had a job, and those two things were separate. And Covenant is a beautiful organization that blends both of those things, those areas of my life. So that makes it a joy every day to come to work, knowing that I'm serving those in need in the name of Jesus, and that's what we're all called to do. So for me, every day is a blessing.
What I love about Covenant is that, I go to work and I talk about, Jesus or family or things with coworkers. And so to be in an environment where that's esteemed, I really appreciate the chance to work at a place where our mission is about serving God So the chance to pray with patients, the chance to see God provide, and whether that provision is providers, is nursing staff, or MAs, front desk, but just to see His provision in the day, when it's really needed. To be touched by patients in that process, like it's not just about us giving care, but there's this sense where, like, I'm blessed by the patients. I just think about probably every week I have the chance to pray with patients many times in the week, but a patient will pray for me, and that's very encouraging, inspiring to have that care kind of reciprocated.
One of the things about a federal health center is that 51% of your board has to be patients of the health center. That's really meaningful to me because it means that the people who are being served have a voice in their care. And a lot of times that's not true, right? People just are expected to accept whatever an organization offers, but that's not the case because patients are my boss, And so it's a great relationship with them. I think that I appreciate the way that they use their gifts in service to Covenant, their wisdom. They ask really good questions. They're definitely not a rubber stamp board, and that's important because there has to be accountability at every level of the organization. But they're just really bright people, kind people, faith-filled people, and because of their attention to detail and their overall mission to make sure we're doing the best job possible, the initiatives and ideas and things that come out of Covenant are better because we have a strong board.
Wow. How I heard about Covenant Community Care is a real strange story. I was in receiving hospital, just found out that I was a diabetic. Didn't have any insurance. And my sugar level was over 800. They were getting ready to send me home with no meds, no insulin, no support. And I was frantic and didn't know what to do. And DMC let me talk to one of the social workers. And she said, you live on the west side. There's a community care clinic called Covenant Care, and they will work with you on a sliding scale for services. And I made it to Covenant Care after they gave me some emergency supplies. I went in and I was assigned to Dr. Stride. Dr. Stride had just started at Covenant Care, and we were just talking. And he shared that he and his wife did missionary work, and I shared that I was a minister, and we talked a little bit about that. What impressed me, I didn't know that I was going to be assigned to Dr. Stride, but I had an early appointment. And at 8 o'clock, the doctors and some of the staff come out into the lobby at the Michigan Center and hold hands and pray. And my doctor, who I didn't know was going to be my doctor, Dr. Stride, would lead the prayer and close the prayer session. And ever since then, he always asks, or the nurse practitioner asks, do you want us to pray for you? That blew me away. Dr. Stride would give me samples of the medication that I couldn't afford because I didn't have insurance. And then once my job role changed and I got insurance, each time I got a new job, Covenant Care took my insurance and I didn't have to leave my doctor. And so Dr. Stride became my doctor. I mean, doctor, mentor, prayer partner, somebody who I could feel, wow, regardless of what my body's going through, my spirit and my mind can have peace. At Covenant Care, I get caught up. I teach Bible study. Covenant, it's a promise. It's an agreement. So Covenant Care has promised and agreed to give me the best care.
Joyce Southfield Building is a ray of sunshine in the midst of everything else. I'm really looking forward to making good on our promise to that community to expand access to care in that area. I'm looking forward to building on the incredible work that Dr. Palm and her team have been doing there for many years now.
Oh, the new building. This is something that we've been praying about and thinking about for, like I said, for some years now. Increased space, is the obvious reason. Right now we're only able to hold 2.25 providers, which we really want to grow because there's a huge need in this community where, we're having patients calling for appointments, new patients, and we just cannot accommodate because we don't have, the space and we don't have the providers with an open schedule to be able to see these patients. So to be able to open our doors to more people who are in need of the quality, loving care that we provide. Also to be able to expand some of our services, to be able to do some of the cool things we're doing at some of the other sites, maybe the centering pregnancy, for our behavioral health to go back to having maybe small groups if they're able to space out. We're really excited about us having dental on site, which is going to be so cool. Right now we get dental here maybe 2 to 3 times a year, and they're here for about a week. They typically set up in our conference room, so it's the same crew that goes to the schools and soup kitchens and things of that nature. So we're thankful for that, but we look forward to being able to offer our patients full dental services on site as well.
So I'm looking forward to that community getting the full Covenant experience, which is, you receive high quality care in a facility that shows you that we value you. Those types of things, what the building looks like. Is it clean? Is it inviting? Was it designed to show you that you matter? And you should have access to the same level of care as somebody else who might have better insurance than you or more money than you. That's what means a lot to me. It's not just delivering service, it's the way in which we deliver service. And so that new building is going to make good on a lot of promises to that community. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. And also it makes good on a promise to our staff too, because their resilience of the Joyce Southfield team is unmatched. And so it was making good on a promise to them that really motivated me when that project got tough. I'm excited for all the opportunities that we have in front of us. We learned a lot of skills in the pandemic. We learned virtual care in a whole nother way. So for patients who have historically had trouble accessing our clinics, we've learned a new skill over the last year of how to treat them when they aren't physically present. What does that look like to carry that skill forward? I think there's a newfound resilience. Anytime you go through tough times, you emerge from it stronger. And I see Covenant emerging from the pandemic stronger. And a strong Covenant can be amazing for Metro Detroit. And so I'm really, really excited to take the lessons that we've learned and build on them to serve more people and serve them in a great way. Thank you for tuning in today. We appreciate your time and we hope you stay connected with us as we advance our mission. Thanks.